Earlier this week, four current Met artists recalled how their participation in the Met's National Council auditions helped further their opera careers. They were joined by the executive director of the National Council's auditions, Gayletha Nichols. Lecturer and frequent Met intermission guest Bridget Paolucci hosted this lively discussion.
Joining me at the Met are five guests. Mezzo-soprano Susan Graham is known throughout the United States and Europe for such roles as Octavian and The Merry Widow. Mezzo Wendy White made her Met debut in 1989 and has sung 31 roles here at the Opera House. Baritone CharlesTaylor was a finalist in the 2001 auditions, and he's a member of the Met's Lindemann Young Artist Development Program. Bass Morris Robinson, who made his Met debut in 2002, is a graduate of that program. And Gayletha Nichols advises young singers and spends a good deal of her time traveling to various National Council auditions to hear singers firsthand. Gayletha Nichols, what do you look for in a singer?
Exceptional talent. And I know that's easy to say, and everyone says, well, what does that mean? The voice comes first. It's terrific if you can find a distinctive sound in someone, something that's special and unique, and then certainly a level of skill.
And how do these auditions differ from other auditions or competitions?
Well, it's enormous, and there are four stages of it. There's a district audition, a regional audition, then the semifinals and the finals.
And the swimsuit competition.
What's the connection between the Young Artist Program and the National Council auditions?
Well, many of the young artists who have been in the program at the Met were first identified by the National Council. It's not 100%, nor do I tell everyone that you must do a National Council audition in order to be in the program. There are other ways, certainly, to audition for the program, but it's a natural thing. I mean, there are 1,500 singers who start out to sing a National Council audition every season. This year, that boils down to 9 who are in the finals. What is that, 3 and 500?
Susan Graham, what was your reaction when you were asked to host this year's concert?
Well, I was very honored, of course, naturally. I was a Metropolitan Opera National Council winner back in 1988, and I was just finishing up with my university and conservatory training, and I was just out of the Merola program at San Francisco Opera. And as an alumna of this wonderful institution, I'm very honored to be coming back to host the event on Sunday. I'm just glad that I don't have to do any singing this time.
What do you remember about singing in that concert?
Well, indelibly imprinted in any artist's mind is the first time they set foot on the Metropolitan Opera stage. And I remember the first rehearsals that we had for the winter's concert. We were doing our little rehearsals on the stage just with piano and just looking out into that enormously cavernous, beautiful, glittering, red velvet, golden and crystal space was, you feel like you died and gone to heaven. And then you just pray that you don't die in the middle of it all because it can be kind of terrifying.
Well, how much time elapsed between that concert and then your Met debut?
3 years. And, you know, I was just honing my craft. And my debut at the Metropolitan Opera was the second lady in Mozart's Magic Flute.
Wendy White, when you made the finals in 1978, wasn't the auditions concert quite different from what it is today?
It was different. And just as Susan said, I had the same exact reaction when I went out on stage and I looked out over the audience, and literally sitting next to one another was Cheryl Mills, Placido Domingo, Renata Scotto, Maestro Levine. And for a young singer, your heart just practically stops. You're just thinking, I can't believe I'm actually standing here. It's a very surreal experience. So very thrilling, very thrilling.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But was that accompanied by the orchestra, or were there still pianos?
No,
then?
pianos then.
You mentioned there were all these famous singers,
Yes.
but there are always agents and managers and impresarios in the audience. Did you hear from any of them?
I did, and it actually frightened me because at the time I really wanted to make sure that I was ready. I think young singers, they have to be very careful because, you know, the first thing that your response is, oh, somebody wants to use me, somebody wants to hire me. But I think that, just as Susan was saying, you have to hone your craft. You have to make sure that you're ready, not just vocally, but psychologically, emotionally. You have to make sure that you have a stable home life and a stable basis so that when you get out there, you're ready to confront and deal with everything that you deal with that has nothing to do with singing, that can be the most difficult part of this business. I used the scholarship money, which was incredible help in my career, to be able to coach with the best coaches, with the best teachers, work with diction coaches. And I would say I started about 5 years after the competition really seeking employment in this business. It was a very exciting time, very exciting.
CharlesTaylor, or perhaps I should say Chuck, since
Yes, ma'am.
that's what everyone calls you. Do you remember how you felt when you first arrived at the Metropolitan Opera stage door as a semifinalist?
I was blown away. I'd never been to New York before.
Where are you from?
I'm from Arizona originally, and had been living in Colorado prior to that. And I'd been to JFK one time on the way to Europe, but I'd never ever been to the city of Manhattan. I got a cab, a regular cab, not a gypsy cab, because we were warned off about getting the gypsy cabs with Gayletha. And I got to the Mayflower Hotel, which is where we all stayed then before they tore it down. And I said, "Where's the Met?" And they said, "Oh, it's just right back there." And I had no idea where I was going, so I came down 64th on the south side of the Mayflower Hotel and walked across and turned the corner around the Empire Hotel, and there was the edifice that I knew from the pictures, and I cried like a wee girl. And I was just so excited and so thrilled, and walking up to the stage door, the coolest thing was getting my Met ID, because I had my picture on it, and I was like, well, if I never come back again, I've got the proof. I was here, and it was petrifying. I'd only been singing about 18 months again at that point. I had quit for a long time, so it was petrifying and exciting, and I was way over my head. But fortunately, I was too arrogant to know any better or something like that. I don't know.
Well, how did being a finalist affect your career then?
Immediately, it didn't affect it at all for the first couple months after. I can be a little bit grandiose, and so I was expecting agents to call, and I did get an audition with Houston Grand for their Young Artist program immediately following, and they felt that my voice wasn't suited for their needs at that time, I think is how they put it. And so I went out and was going to go to University of Houston, actually, to do a graduate degree. I got this email from Lenore Rosenberg in the summer of 2001 saying, "How would you like to come and cover some stuff at the Met?" And I was on the phone with my parents and freaked out and said, holy cow. I used another word, but my dad said, "Stop cussing." And so I got here in 2001, and during that period of time, made the powers that be of the Linneman program know that I was interested in getting involved in that program, because I was raw, no language experience. All I could do was sing really loudly, whatever the proper English is. And they said, "All right, come join us." So that's how it affected my career.
Morris Robinson, Chuck just mentioned that there was a space in there in which he wasn't pursuing a singing career, and you also had time off. How did you get back to singing?
Well, it's a long story, but I was in New England, auditioned for a weekend program at the New England Conservatory, and I did a performance from there. I was studying on the weekend, working in corporate America during the week, and Boston University's music director, Sharon Daniels, was at a performance that I was in, as a weekend production, and walked up to me and said, "You should probably be doing this for a living. Have you ever thought about singing for a living?" I was like, I got a job, I got an expense account, I got a house, I'm all set, but she says, "Well, if you show some initiative and learn 5 arias, go hire a private teacher, learn 5 arias, come back and sing for us in the spring. I think it may be beneficial to you." So I found a guy, Don Wilkinson, up in Boston, and started studying with him on the weekends, learned 5 arias, went back and sang for her and her group, and after they heard me, they liked me a lot, so they brought me in to see if I could move on my feet. And I had some experience with music from high school, but since then I played football, I worked for, different companies. That was, 15 years prior to this. And they saw that I could move on my feet a little bit and offered me a full scholarship. So I quit my job, and the rest is a brief history, I guess.
Well, how did you connect then with the National Council?
Studying at Boston University and also doing like OJT, if you will, and on-the-job training with Boston Lyric Opera. And Stephen Lord is the music director there. He's also the music director at Opera Theater St. Louis. He offered me a job that summer to go to St. Louis and sing in the chorus and cover a role. And every year, lots of opera companies come out to hear, the ensemble artists there. And Gayletha Nichols, my first year there, was the person from the Met. And she heard me do an audition for her. And we just kind of kept in touch from that point on. She encouraged me to do the National Council audition, which I did in Boston. And I didn't get out the region. I actually placed third in the region. So, so that's a story of perseverance. You know, that door wasn't shut in my face. It was certainly an honor to win third place, but, you know, I didn't get a chance to come to New York. So I had to not really circumvent the system, but I came down and did a list hall audition for Lenore and Gayletha, and they invited me back to do private coaching with John Fisher. I did a coaching with John Fisher, and then he invited me back to sing for Maestro Levine.
I'll bet you still can't believe it looking at your face.
I started laughing. I literally started laughing on stage. I think they probably thought something was wrong with me, but I was thinking to myself, you know, a year and a half after starting this, I'm standing on stage singing for Maestro Levine. This is pretty intimidating. So rather than, you know, jinx myself by getting nervous, I just laughed because it was surreal. I didn't belong there. So it was, you know, I was going to show up, sing, have fun, leave, and if I'm lucky, one day I'll tell my grandkids that I sang on stage at the Met. And that same afternoon, they offered me a position in the program. So,
Gayletha, were you there?
Yes, I remember it very well.
It sounds as though you and the National Council are really involved with the singers very early on, and even before they come to New York.
Yeah.
How early does that involvement begin?
Well, the earlier the better in some respects, because what you hope is that you can help people stay on a good track. And when you talk to singers, most of them will tell you at some point along the line they got kind of off the track. And whether it was a work situation, a teacher situation, a job situation, money situation, whatever it was, they weren't able to keep on the good training track. So it's great for me to hear them as young as possible. Not that I want them immediately to sing for the National Council, but I want to track them. I want to keep in touch with them and see what's going on. It's not enough for me to have somebody come here and participate in the National Council. My goal is to help them do all kinds of things, not just in New York, but if I can make a phone call for a young singer who would do very well in Seattle, boy, am I happy to do that too. And competitions are competitions, you know, not everyone does their best work then. I certainly, gosh, in my beginning, you couldn't drag me to them. I remember my teachers saying, oh, you have to go, you have to go. No, I'm not going. And I didn't really understand what they were about. And so I can say now, it's not about winning the big prize, really. It's about being heard by somebody who can help you. And that's my ultimate goal.
Once they've sung in the concert, do you yourself follow up then?
Oh, gosh, yes. They get probably too many emails from me. If you make it to the semifinal round, you're very, very much on the radar of the Met from that point on. And we keep in touch. There's money available to any semifinalist to continue their education. In fact, we call it the Education Fund. And for a 3-year period after you've been a semifinalist, you can come back and audition for up to $5,000 that you put towards your continuing education.
You know, so much of the singing career seems to rely on just a few minutes, a one-time performance, an audition.
Oh, you have no idea.
Susan, that's what I was going to ask. How do all of you who are singers feel about that? Susan, you started to say something.
I mean, you know, many times we hear you're only as good as your last performance. So, you know, sometimes if you may have accomplished a lot in your career, but if you have a bad performance, then that's what's on everybody's mind, you know. But as a young singer, you know, it's all about auditions, because that is, as Gayletha said, the idea with all these competitions. I mean, I did tons of competitions and I did tons of auditions, and the idea is to get your name and your talent in the minds of the people who have jobs to give, money to give, opportunities to offer you. And, you know, that's what's so great about something like this National Council audition program and system. Thankfully, I mean, when Gayletha said there are 1,500 auditioners on the national level, I think that's an incredibly encouraging number. It's vast, but it's very encouraging to us who love to see young singers coming up and aspiring to do this. You know, among that ocean of young potential artists, there are some that are going to make it, and there are some that aren't.
Absolutely.
And it's true. You know, it's the way of allowing yourself as a young prospective singer, you know, hopeful singer, you know, grow and be discovered.
It's what separates the men from the boys. It really is. Because if you think about it in the big picture, every time you walk out on a stage to do a performance, you're going to be nervous. You're going to be panicked. You're going to be thinking, oh gosh, and your heart is pounding. it's the same thing with an audition. So really, an audition is, in a sense, a performance.
That's
You
the
are
only way to
fight-
look at it
is.
also.
It is.
That also takes some of the fear out of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it makes you realize, am I cut out for this? Do I have the tenacity to hang in here? And sometimes I think there are great voices that are never going to have a career in this business because they don't have the emotional makeup to handle the fear and to handle the panic when you have to go out on that set and perform and get up in front of 5,000
You
people.
got to stick your landing every time.
Thank you, Mary Lou Retton.
From being fairly new to this, and Chuck can relate also, we've been in this room, as a young artist, you audition sometimes 2-3 times a week, so you get to the point where you're kind of used to it. I personally am not a very good auditioner. I think I do well on stage once I'm there because that to me is a different environment. But everyone works differently. I mean, for competitions for myself, I've done just about all of them and I've only won one. If I use that as a gauge to judge my success, I would be pretty disappointed in myself. I compete against Morris Robinson every day, and that's what I do. I think it's important for young singers also to know that you can't judge yourself based on the next person. Every day you try to get better. And I look at something I've done today, and I'll say, tomorrow I'm going to do better than that. Now, don't get it wrong. I'm an ex-ball player. I also compete against people. If I see someone that's better than me, I'm going to do everything I can to be better than that guy the next day, too.
Music is so subjective
It is
anyway.
subjective.
It's not something that is
Absolutely.
concrete, and you can't say, well, I ran the 100 and this fast, and I got to run it faster tomorrow. It's because you can't predict what judges are looking for.
And the other thing is, if you bring that aggressive nature to music, then you're not being very musical.
You're not being very sensitive.
I found that I can't walk in there with I'm going to crush them mentality because that, I might sound really,
That may not be what Verdi had in mind.
yeah, right. Well, maybe for Verdi, but not Mozart. So.
Unless you're a baritone.
But these are the kind of singers that companies want to invest in. Somebody with extraordinary talent like all of these people have, and that drive and that passion.
Thank you very much for joining us. Gayletha Nichols, Susan Graham, Wendy White, Morris Robinson, and CharlesTaylor.
You may have heard me mention his name during performances here on Metropolitan Opera Radio on Sirius or in the Saturday matinee broadcasts. Stephen Eldredge he's a member of what they call the rehearsal department here at the Met. We're going to find out more about what he does because he's really part of the musical preparation of everyone here at the Metropolitan Opera. You are an assistant conductor,
That's
correct?
Yes.
How many of those are there here at the Met?
Oh, it changes from year to year. It's quite a few. Last time I looked, there were maybe 50.
Really?
More than you think, yeah, because many people come in and do maybe one show, 2 shows a year, and so that number of people adds up quite a lot. That includes, of course, our prompters and the cover conductors. They're also labeled an assistant conductor.
So does an assistant conductor ever step in and take over?
Usually that would be with the cover conductor, whose job is to do that. We're called assistant conductors. I'm not necessarily sure where that term comes from. I think it's just because we assist the conductor by being the orchestra when the orchestra's not there.
Do you? Oh, you play.
We play the piano.
I see. So do you ever actually do anything for the conductor? I know you work with the singers, but does the conductor ever count on you for anything?
Well, it depends upon the piece. Often I've done some backstage conducting. I've actually picked up the baton when we were doing Philip Glass's The Voyage and took the orchestra through about 3 minutes of it so the conductor could hear it. So you never know. There's all sorts of things you can do.
So what are you responsible for in a production?
I'm responsible for playing the rehearsals, for coaching the singers in their roles, if and when there's time to go through the roles to prepare not only the principal singers, but the cover singers. Sometimes I will conduct backstage, or sometimes I will do cues backstage, and every piece brings its own, sometimes unforeseen problems. A certain singer may need a certain thing backstage, may need you to be there to give them a cue. You need them for something like that. So,
A cue being what exactly?
just to get them to come on correctly if they're coming from off stage. If there's sometimes certain singers will have to exit the stage singing and they have trouble hearing where the prompter is or where the conductor is, sometimes you'll do that. You'll be just backstage so they can see a hand, something. There's all sorts of things can pop up like that.
That's sort of interesting, because you would imagine that people who are given the roles to sing would know when they come on and come off. But I think it's probably because there's so much going on.
There's so much that they don't plan on. So much that has to do with the production, has to do with the sight line, what they can see, where their feet are, if their feet are in the dark, if they're worried about whether they're going to trip or something. You never know exactly. Hopefully those things are taken care of before they happen, before they come up as a problem. But sometimes they can, little problems come rear their heads, and then that's where we're here to help.
And with as many people, making it as simple as possible.
Absolutely.
That keeps things from going wrong. You must, when you rehearse with singers, do you coach them sometimes?
Sometimes, yes.
You must run into sometimes people who just don't know their music.
Well, this is a touchy subject, but sometimes we do, yes.
It must happen, I would imagine. But then there must be some who really are prepared.
Oh, yeah.
Ultra prepared.
Thank goodness.
Do you ever find yourself with very little to say to a singer?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes nothing more than bravo. Or sometimes you sit there astonished at what they're accomplishing. And sometimes what we have to do, sometimes we have to deal with a singer that doesn't know his music simply because somebody got sick and someone was hired at the last minute to cover them, and it was in a role that is not very often done. And so it's not so much a matter of you didn't learn your music, but, you didn't have much time.
Decided to renounce her family and renounce her religion. And to completely devote herself to this person. And I like to think that there are it's more than just, oh, I love this man, I want to do this. I think there are other things going on in this person. And then in Act 2, we really see that strength come to fruition. But it's not just strength. The only way we can see her strength is when we see it falter through her weaknesses and her moments of doubt. So you have these high and energetic, intense moments of hope, contrasted with these moments of doubt and despair, really. And I think that's what makes her an interesting character. And I don't walk away from the stage thinking, oh, I just, had to restrain myself and play this demure person. It's not that at all. I'm playing a person of grace and I think an innate nobility. In a human sense.
And she makes her choices, and she really carries them out.
She makes her choices, and she carries them out.
Now, you've been playing this role, you've been singing this role for a few years now. When did you start singing it in earnest, actually, in 2004?
Yeah, I did start singing it in earnest in 2004. It might be interesting to note, though, I did sing it a whole lot of times back on Western Opera Theater Tour when I was involved with this San Francisco Young Artist Program. I think I sang it about 70 times. Now, I was 22 at the time.
Wow.
It was a reduced orchestra. We did it in English. It was, we traveled around the country. I mean, I sang it in gymnasiums, I sang it in all sorts of venues. And it was a great experience. But I also knew that with my, vocal, the weight of my voice at that time, at that age, it wasn't something I was going to continue to do in major houses. So I put it away until 2004, and it was a very thought-out decision to do the Houston Butterflies.
And because you have been doing it for a long time in your life, it's a character that you've come to a lot of decisions about on your own, and yet now you've met Anthony Minghella, who is the director of this production, and you must have been conversing about this character with him.
Completely. What it's really very much worth saying is Anthony works, I think, like a true director in the best sense, because he doesn't insist that, okay, we do it this way, this is the way we see it. He looks at what he's dealing with, and he listens, and he's so intuitive, and we do something new. So yes, it's his production, but it felt new to me, and I know different things were done than the last time, and I think this is the 6th time it's been done in its existence, this particular production. So but he gave me new and different insights into certain line readings, if you will, interpretive moments, which I love that. It refreshes it refreshes things, and you need that, because when one sings a role like Butterfly, it's a popular opera for houses to do. So when one sings it to any success at all, you do it in a lot of places. So refreshing it is always a great thing, and Anthony did that in a most profound way, as did Carolyn. His wife, who dealt with the movement, she was just terrific, and it's just it was a new level of detail, I would say, that they helped me add. And I think in doing a role many times, you gain that. I mean, I felt that with Violetta when I was doing that years ago. Every time it was just added layers. You know, you always returned in a certain sense to well, I'll speak for myself. I always returned in a certain sense to my original feelings in some ways, to certain moments, but it's great to have them questioned and challenged, because they're only going to be all the richer from that experience.
You talked a little bit about singing it many times. You're singing it 4 times this season in 4 different places. Is that the most you've ever done it in a season?
Yeah, and it should be noted I'm taking a big chunk of time off to rest as well, to take care, because it is truly the most exhausting endeavor.
You're singing it here, San Francisco, in Florence, and at the Bavarian State Opera.
Yes, I am.
How did that happen, that all of these happened in one season for you?
Well, you know, most of the time, for most singers, it's really we cannot necessarily create our opportunities. They are put before us. And they're not put in a neat, timely fashion. They come in at different times in your life. They come in with different stipulations. So you can't really, organize that. It just happened that way. And I have. It should be noted, I have said no to a couple Butterfly projects in this similar period, because I don't want to do more than I should, and I don't believe I am. I'm taking great care to preserve my energies, but at the same time, you strike while the iron is hot.
Patricia Racette is my guest during this intermission of Aida. She is singing in Madama Butterfly here at the Met. You've got a few Puccini roles in your repertoire. And we sat around, we folks in the radio department, scratching our heads saying, when's she going to sing Minnie in Fanciulla?
I would love to. I really would. I think the character would be right up my alley, and most people that know me agree with me wholeheartedly. So
we could just see you dealing out the
come
cards.
On, bring it on. I would love that. I would love that. Puccini is my thing, if I may say so. Puccini is definitely my thing. I mean, I've done Tosca in a concert version. I'm doing Tosca I'm not allowed to announce
too far in the
season.
Future,
Let's just say I'm doing a stage Tosca in the future, and a Mano Lascaux. So these are definitely roles that I've been waiting anxiously, eagerly to do. So I'm very excited that's coming up.
Now, in February and March, here at the Met, you'll be Ellen Orford in the new production of Peter Grimes. What do you know about it so far?
About the production? I don't know that much, honestly. I've heard only great things. Peter Gelb has said amazing things about it, and I don't want to mistakenly, quote what he said about details, because in case I'm not remembering correctly, but I understand it's going to be very captivating and wonderful, and that is such a rich score, and it is such a rich story. It has so much nuance and so much opportunity for storytelling that's beyond the obvious. So I'm very excited. I do love doing Ellen Orford.
Do you get a lot of opportunity to do it?
No, I don't think anyone gets a lot of opportunity to do it, but it was my La Scala debut in 2000, and I did it here in 1998. Actually, I did it here at the Met in the production we had at the time. So I really love it, because so much of Ellen, her life, happens before, I should say, the curtain goes up. So you have to, as a singer, as the actor, I have to bring all that information and all those layers onto the stage with me already, because there's not a lot of exposition of, well, this is what happened to this woman, and this is why she is in this situation, and the way she is. We don't have that. So it's very rich and interesting, and the music is glorious. I just think the score is divine. Over
the summer, I had the opportunity to go to the scenic shops in the Bronx here in New York, and I watched them making the scenery for Peter Grimes. It's amazing to think that you're off somewhere else preparing your part of the puzzle, putting this whole show together, and they're in the Bronx putting their part of the puzzle together, and it all comes together finally and makes this one show.
Well, that is what is absolutely, without question, remarkable about opera. It combines such virtuosity in so many disciplines of performing art that I think is matched by no other art form. And that's why when people who've never gone to opera say to me, oh, opera, isn't it hard to understand? The typical things that you hear from those that aren't necessarily opera goers, I say it is so accessible, it is so ready to enjoy, and it's really extraordinary in what it has to offer in terms of the visual and the oral.
I tell you what, let's take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back in just a few seconds. More with Patricia Racette in just a little bit. Stay with us. This is Met Opera Radio on Sirius. Soprano Patricia Racette is my guest. We were just talking about singing the role of Ellen Orford, and you're pretty well known for singing English language roles.
Well, I think, yes. I think I'm known for doing new pieces, even though I haven't done an extraordinary amount, but they've been notable appearances for me in my career thus far, and I love doing that. I think it's very important to sing in your native language, artistically.
Do you feel that you're communicating better, or it's just easier?
No, what I feel is it is instructive for me, because when I'm singing in my own language, I'm realizing it reminds me, and it enforces the truth that the layers at which you imbue meaning in your own language, you need to do that in language that in foreign languages. We have such layers in what we say, and you take it for granted in your own language, and so you need to make sure, and I do try and do that and hopefully succeed in foreign languages, in Italian and German and French, that there are that many colors and layers into the meaning of what I'm saying. And it's not just what I would describe as, first level meaning, just the meaning of the word and of that situation. There's a lot more to it. And when you sing in your own language, as when you speak in your own language, there's a lot to it.
And in English, there are all these crazy diphthongs we have to try to find our way through.
I love it. I love it. Yes, I really love it.
Even when you're going up for a high note.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, no, I love it.
You try to get the whole diphthong in?
Well, yes, and one tries. It depends on the night, I suppose.
Now, your partner, Beth Clayton, is here in New York.
Yes, she is.
Singing right across the plaza here in Lincoln Center in Carmen. She's singing the role of Carmen, isn't she?
She is indeed.
Well, how often does that get to happen?
It probably will never happen again like this. And we've known about this and cannot really count the number of friends and family flying in to see both of us, because it's an opportunity to see both of us at the same time. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to both be together and doing iconic roles, really, both of us, important key roles in our own repertoire. So it's great. It's a very singing filled household, shall I say, right now. We got a few complaints from the neighbors, but
good thing she's a mezzo.
Yeah. She's definitely blaming it on me, the complaints, because of the high notes, but I reject that.
I hope I mentioned that it was at New York City Opera. I didn't want to make it sound like I'm not even going to mention New York City Opera. That's just not how we do things here at Met Opera Radio. I was looking at the repertoire list on your website, and there are roles that you have sung, but you're just not interested in singing anymore. Do you just sort of cull those things off your website?
Yes, I'm pretty sure my website is up to date on that. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm right now. I'm just opening it up. I've got her website open. I love to have the artist's website open when they walk in. There's their picture and everything.
Yes,
I'm paying attention.
I've eliminated roles like Micaela. I don't really do Mimi anymore. I don't really want to do Violetta anymore. When you're doing things like Butterfly Tosca and things like that, it's just it's a slightly different animal. So it's and I also have done both of those roles, for example, so many times.
Mimi and
Violetta, so very many times that it's nice to move on to other things.
Sure. And what are you dying for? Minnie? We talked about that already.
That I'm definitely interested in. Well, I'm dying in a certain sense to do more of the same. The Puccini, as I said, the Tosca, the Manon-Lescaut, more, the butterflies as often as possible and in interesting engagements. The Janacek are also very key parts for me. The Yenufa I've done many times. Katya. I would like to do Macropolis Case. In new works, these are sort of the bulk of what I do. I am dying to do. I can say this. I will be doing all three heroines in the Trittico.
You will?
Yes. So I'm very excited. That's been a sort of a dream ever since I've started this profession. Ever since I started as a young little whippersnapper.
And can you tell us where, or is that?
I don't know that I'm allowed to.
All right.
I can tell you off the record when we're off air.
I won't push it.
But yeah.
Sure. But that's very exciting.
I'm very excited. It's a dream come true for me, so I'm extremely excited about that.
Well, tell me how do you do that? How do you come out of Suor Angelica
and then
sing Lauretta?
You're just grateful that you're not singing the whole time.
Is that it?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, now I can take it. Not take it easy exactly, but. Is it just a sort of an ability to put your feet up a little bit when you get to Lauretta?
I don't know, because not having done it, I can't really say. But I have to say I am a huge fan of Renata Scotto, and she did it, and a huge fan of Teresa Stratas, who did it. And I just, I would only love to walk in those steps. So if they do it, then I'm up for the game,
Are you competitive?
Am I competitive? Sopranos are not competitive. I know not what you speak of.
Or maybe it's goals. You see people that you admire who have done certain things, and you find yourself thinking,
you know what it
I'd
is?
like to
you
do
want
that too.
Plainly put, honestly put, as an artist, you want to concentrate on your output and not really take into account too much of how it's being received, because you get distracted from the actual task at hand, and that is a very difficult balance to maintain. But really, I don't think, well, I'll speak for myself again, but you want to, you have goals about the kind of impact you want to have, and the impact I've always wanted to have is someone who can bring a vocal virtuosity and a theatrical virtuosity at the same level. And really, deliver the whole package at a very potent level, and that's always been my goal. Just doing one instead of the other has never been of interest to me. So, that would be what is more in my mind in terms of wish list and dreams.
And you like to sing cabaret too, don't you?
I do.
How often do you get to do that?
It's happening more and more. It's really fun. I just did a big program in Washington. I was there doing Yenufa, and I did one at the Birchmere, which is a jazz club down there, and I had a blast. It's like it's coming home. It's full circle for me, because I started out singing more pop, jazz, cabaret type music, got completely ensconced in the opera world, and did not pay attention to it for so many years, and it came back up in about 2004, and I've been doing it pretty regularly, a couple times a year, and try to appear in as often as possible, because for me it's not the same pressure, and it's my hobby, if you will. It's almost like a break from my day job.
It's wonderful and fulfilling to come around full circle. Patricia Racette has been my guest. She's singing the role of Cho-Cho-san in Madama Butterfly here at the Met. She's also going to be singing in San Francisco, in Florence, and the Bavarian State Opera.
Yes, may I just say hello to Alessandro in Florence, who apparently called in and was enjoying the broadcast immensely. So, Alessandro, be sure and come in January to the performances of Madama Butterfly.
Yeah, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. He says he can't get to sleep. Patricia Racette, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Stay with us. This is Met Opera Radio on Sirius. Listen, it's intermission time during Aida, and we have one of our Aidas with us, Angela Brown. Don't go away. This is Met Opera Radio on Sirius.
As there are a lot of Angela Browns that are performing, and it was an interesting call that my agent got from the Library of Congress that said, we need to differentiate which Angela Brown is which Angela Brown, so we had to put that M in there. So
all right, so now I know where it all comes from. It was almost exactly 3 years ago that you made your Met debut.
October 29th,
all about
2004. Well, I had a contract for 12 Aidas, to cover 12 and to do 2. So the debut was built into my contract, but how it all came about in the first place, I was covering here at the Met since 2000-2001 season, I believe. And I had come back to cover a soprano that was also making her debut at the time. And she had gotten sick, and she said, well, Angela, I may have to have you sing the Sitzprobe. And I was like, sure, you're going to have me sing the Sitz. I'll be ready for you, girl, no problem,
And the Sitzprobe is an early rehearsal.
An early rehearsal with the orchestra and the conductor. So that next morning I got up and I got prepared, and I said, okay, well, just in case I sing, I'll dress the part, and I brought my crochet, and I sat down in the front row. Normally covers sit in the second row in a Sitzprobe here at the Met that I noticed. And I sat in the front row that morning, still not thinking that I would actually sing, because she said, just in case. Well, she came to me and she says, I'm going to sing the first few lines, and if it's not feeling good to me because she had an allergic reaction to something, I'm going to, let you sing the Sitz. And I was like, okay. And so I warmed up and got ready and made ready. And so she sang the first few lines, and then she gave me the gunshot fingers, the 2 fingers and the wink. And I was like, okay. So I stood there with blinders on, knees are shaking, and I began to sing the rest of Aida throughout the rest of the morning. And then I even had my own cover rehearsal as Aida that afternoon. So I sang Aida twice that day. Little did I know that by the time because I lived in the Bronx at the time, so by the time I got back to the Bronx and got out on my train platform, I turned my phone on and it was jingling, and I listened to my messages, and my agent was screaming on the other end, Angela, what did you do? What did you do? The Met has just offered you 12 covers and 2 performances for the 2004 season. What did you do? So that's how I got my actual debut here at the Met. And then really being able to walk out on that stage on October 29th was a great, great thrill. And I like to call it my debut season. During that time, I actually had to go on a couple of times in the 4th act, which has been told numerous times for ailing soprano. And but that was actually after my debut. And I ended up having to go out and sing the 4th act. And I was in the chorus dressing room here at the Met because I was covering her that night. And it was right after Halloween. And so I was sitting back with some of the chorus ladies eating some caramel chocolate candy with nougat. And
and you had to sing
all of a sudden, I hear the voice of God over the intercom. Angela Brown, please report to the artist area. I take off running. I say, what's up? What's going on? What's happening? He's like, honey, you got to do your job tonight. I said, but it's the 4th act. They're like, do you want to check? Do your job. I got in that dressing room, got to warming up, put the makeup and the costume on, and went out there and sang the 4th act. So it was a very, very exciting season for me, to say the least.
See, now I don't think that was covered in the New York Times that you probably had caramel still in your teeth.
Yeah.
It was splashed all over the Times. Yeah. And everywhere. I mean, you were profiled everywhere. I was so disappointed that I didn't get to hear that, and I was working here at the time. You were then featured in magazines everywhere, yes. Oprah, Essence, Ebony, Reader's Digest, and Psychology Today.
Okay.
Why there?
Yes, I'm crazy. No. I think they were doing like different personalities and why certain personalities, pursue this kind of work and why they are they can rise to the occasion. And I can't remember what personality I was under, but that was the premise of that.
I was wondering if they came to any conclusions about you.
That I'm crazy. But can't she be that bubbly and happy all the time? Something like that.
But it must be a real. Well, it must have to come relatively easy to you or be a huge psychological adjustment to sit backstage eating caramel corn or whatever it was you said, and then suddenly they say, it's time to go out. It's time to do it. What a sudden change of your focus.
Yeah, you definitely have to change your focus. Well, and then when you know that covering is your job, to step in at a moment's notice is what you're expected to do. You don't know how you're going to react until you have to do it. And so a lot of people ask me, well, were you scared? I was like, no, I had no time to be scared because I had to get out there and float some notes, and so it just happened. And I had practiced it enough. They put you through your paces here as a cover, and and you have to sit and watch those rehearsals, and then you sit and watch the performers that are actually doing it do it. And I had the opportunity to actually walk the set on several occasions before I actually covered. And so I was comfortable with where I was going, but I had never had a chance to sing in the theater for a performance with a full orchestra and a full audience. I had never had that opportunity other than when I won the Metropolitan Opera National Council audition in '97. That was the last time I sung on that stage. So it was exciting, to say the least. Had no time for nerves.
That's a long stretch. Angela Brown, soprano, who is currently one of the sopranos singing Aida during this run of the opera here at the Metropolitan Opera. You use the expression float some notes. You've got a real floating sound. You can really, where do you get that pianissimo from?
I would like to say that somebody gave it to me, but I have to say that God gave it to me. I mean, of course, with the technique that I learned from Virginia Zayani and Ginger Beasley, who was also a student of hers at Oakwood College, it's just something that comes up and comes out, with the technique. So, and I try to sing everything with conviction, regardless if I'm singing in church, or if I'm singing Aida, or if I'm singing Mary Had a Little Lamb. I try to sing it with some conviction. So it just comes up and out.
Do you do much church singing, or have you?
Yes, I have. I've done a lot of church singing. I sing in my church every chance I get. I travel a lot. So, I don't always have the opportunity to go to my personal church. But every chance I get, I'm in the door.
Oh, I bet they're so happy to see you come walking in.
Yeah, it's fun. Sometimes you just want to, lay back in the back and not be noticed and be fed the word for yourself, But I always appreciate when people appreciate me.
Now tonight you are actually covering for Micaela Carozzi. Does it do you some good to go out there, sing a few, sit back and watch a few, and take something in, and then go out again?
Yes.
Which is what you're going to do.
Which is exactly what I'm doing. It helps you to hear what is good as far as when you're soft singing or when you're loud singing, how much to give and how much to gauge. It helps to hear other people sing, because you don't get to see yourself. And it's very rarely that you get to hear yourself other than in recordings. And so it's nice to be able to sit back and see what other people are saying. And so this is a good thing. It's always a work in progress, because you can always do better.
Angela Brown's my guest. We're going to take a little break. We'll be back in a few seconds. Stay with us. This is Met Opera Radio on Sirius. During this intermission of Aida, we're being visited by soprano Angela Brown. Your warm personality comes out so plainly when you're on stage. Is it easy to open yourself up out there, really be yourself, or does it take a lot of courage?
Well, I think it takes courage to step your pinky toe on the stage in the first place. You have to have that. But once, I have to admit, because I thought about, when you're singing on stage sometime, and other performers will be able to say, yes, I understand what she means. You stand out there in the vastness that is the Met, and really, it's you and the conductor. And when you go past the conductor, it's about you. And for me, it's me and God. I am just singing out into the vastness, because I can't. It's just all dark to me. I can't make out faces. I mean, maybe I can see the first 3 rows of the audience, but that's about it. And it's just something that overtakes me, that I just let go and let God and just enjoy what I'm doing, and really try to bring over the character of Aida and let Angela be in the background. I really try to do that. There are times when you're concerned, when you're not feeling well, and you're concerned about, how am I going to, get this note out? I'm going to have to modify the vowel a little more on top, or whatever it is that you have to do to get through your job.
The technical stuff.
The technical stuff. But most of the time, I'm just out there having fun, being free. Because if people see your tension, they're going to feel tense themselves. And then they're not going to enjoy the performance. So I try to relax and have fun.
Tell us where you come from.
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
a lot
didn't
of people
realize
think
that.
that I'm from Alabama or somewhere because that's Hoosier you detect. So that's right, Hoosier. Yes.
Yes, but you did go to college in Alabama.
Yes, I did.
Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama. Do they have a good music department there?
Yes, I believe they did. My teacher, Ginger Beasley, was my voice teacher there at Oakwood, and it's a Seventh-day Adventist school. And half the campus was preachers, and the other half were singers. So you had good music all the time. And I quite enjoyed going there.
I noticed that 5 members from the group Take 6 came from out of that
all
school.
of them came from Oakwood.
They all did?
They all did.
Well, I missed
went
one
to
then
school
when I
with
was
a couple of them.
And
well, no, actually, you're right. 5 members did because Cedric Dent went to school somewhere else.
And you're one of their honored alumni.
Yes, it's great. I tell you, I love my alma mater.
And Little Richard came from Oakwood?
I think he did go there.
Yeah, that's
Little
what I saw.
Richard and Wintley Phipps and Clifton Davis and Shirley Verrett, I think, went there for a moment.
And then you went to do graduate work at Indiana for your master's. Was that a big change for you?
That was a big change for me as far as being, I thought that I would go from Oakwood, which is a small pond, being a big fish in a small pond, to being a small fish in a big pond. But I ended up being a big fish in a big pond, and I didn't realize that it would happen that way. I kind of go through my life with blinders on. I don't think about what people are saying about me or anything. I just try to best myself, because you can get real caught up in competition with other people. I try to compete against me, and try not to get caught up in the hoopla, But it was a change. It was different for me, and it was something that I think I needed, because going from a small religious school to a big, what they call Indiana is the music factory. You couldn't help but feel the difference.
You mentioned a couple of your teachers, or there are probably lots of other people in your life who have been an influence on you. Have you gotten good advice on your way up?
I believe I have. I've always liked to consider myself a slow burn. And because you can enjoy each plateau. I don't have to zoom straight to the top, because then it's a long way down. But when you have cut some steps for you and yourself in the mountain, you can enjoy each plateau, So you have steps to grow. I don't ever want to just totally blow my wad, just be so big and great and famous or whatever this business can tell you that you are, and not realize that Angela is still in there, I'm just Angela, so I want to enjoy it however it goes.
One day I saw you walking outside, coming toward the Met. You were in a tracksuit, and I thought, there goes Aida, the Queen of the Nile.
Baby, walking it off, okay?
Hey, so in evaluating yourself, what do you think is your biggest asset? Because I can sit here and watch you and say, boy, she's warm, she gives of herself. Listen to those pianissimos. What do you think you've got to give to your audience? Or even to the world?
Well, I think I have a large capacity to love without being, this fake humble stuff, having that fake humility. I don't think I have that, but I think I have a large capacity to love and to listen and to understand people's ideas, whether it be something with their life, trying not to be judgmental of other people. So maybe that's something I have. I don't know.
Where do you get your musical talent from?
I would say my mother.
Yeah?
My mother, they thought that she would be the next Marian Anderson of her time. But she got married 11 days after high school, and she had us. And so she's also an artist. So she passed on both her gifts to me and my brother, who is a graphic designer in Indianapolis.
You have just your brother?
There were 3 of us. My youngest brother passed away from bacterial meningitis. That meningitis that a lot of young people get by being in close quarters.
Sorry.
And he was in the service, and he died from that in 84. But my older brother is now married, and his wife is a doctor, and I have a niece and a nephew, and he's a graphic designer in Indianapolis, and my mother is an artist. And she just passed it all on to us. And she was my grandfather was a Baptist minister, and so she always sang behind my grandfather's sermons, so she passed that on to me.
So tell us about some of the other roles you're singing these days.
Well, I'm going to be coming back to the Met in April to do Amelia in Un ballo in maschera. I'm very excited about that. I'm going to be working with James Conlon with the May Festival in Cincinnati, doing my first La Forza del Destino. I'm excited and scared about that.
Where's the fear coming from?
The first time, just never having done it. And so it makes it a little, uncharted territory, makes it a little scary, but I'm up for the challenge.
How do you entertain yourself when you're not running around being an opera singer, walking down the street in your tracksuit being Aida, the Queen of the Nile?
Well, I've recently become engaged.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
Yes,
I'm showing
I can
the ring.
See
you can't
now.
see the ring in Radio Land, but it's beautiful.
Very
good. So right now I'm kind of just trying to figure out my life, what I'm going to do, because it's not going to be easy for us, but he understands, and we're coming together on that. But I try to be involved with my church family in Indianapolis, or if I'm in New York, here in New York.
Is that where you call home, Indianapolis?
Indianapolis
again?
is my home now.
Still?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I did move to New York for a time, but I'm back in Indy because family matters. And so I like to shop. I love spa days. Love going to the spa, girl. Oh my goodness.
Massages, facials.
Yes.
What's the favorite?
Okay, this is my menu. I have a facial, a therapeutic massage. I love deep tissue. And then you have to have the manicure and the pedicure, and then to top it off, a body treatment, a skin glow, a salt glow, where they pour hot oil on you and then cool salt and then just rub.
Man, you come out a new woman.
Oh my goodness, you do, and I love it. My favorite spa getaway right now is 10,000 Waves in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So if you ever go there, get the salt glow, child.
Angela Brown is going to be singing more Aidas here at the Met, and you can hear her right here on Sirius. I'm so glad you joined us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I had a great time.
We'll see you again.
Talking with us.
Hello.
Let me start with you, Angela. You must love the chance to be in a romantic comedy. Tell us about Adina.
More on a comedy because I'm always dying. So this is to be really to have a comic situation and a happy end. It's very rare in the opera. So I think this is the only opera with happy end on my career I ever sang. Yeah, it's really wonderful to have a nice atmosphere on stage with everybody, my colleagues, and thanks God we had the chance to have Massimo for this transmission, also for the first night, and we hope that our colleague he's better now. But
I want to thank you, actually. It's a pleasure for me to be here, actually.
No?
Well, actually,
well, let's talk about that since you brought it up, Angela. Yeah. You were in Europe. You get the call. You jump on a plane. You fly in.
This is a very.
Tell them the truth because it's crazy.
Well, the truth is that on the 25th, I sang the last performance of Carmen.
Right, Don Jose.
Berlin, Don Jose, yes. And on the 27th in the morning, I was in the dress rehearsal of Elisir d'Amore at the Met with the audience. This is the truth. And on the 31st, I had the first night. This is the truth.
So, Angela, are you a big help for him, sort of pulling him around stage, telling him where to go, finding the marks and all that?
Never. No, he's a nice artist. He's a good actor. No. We really had fun. We had really no word, go left or right. No, on the general, it was somebody on stage just that pushing him. Remember, around 2 steps, 2 meters left.
But that was really disturbing me, actually, because yes, the truth is that I already knew what to do because I sang it already, of course, and
so musically, it's there. You're not worried about that.
Musically, it's there. Yes, absolutely,
In fact, this
no
is
problem.
a point for rehearsal all the time. time. We have, stories and big stories as I have for rehearsals, missing rehearsals. But we sing on stage with no rehearsal at all. So I saw my partner in the general rehearsal with the public. So
even though we knew each other.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the truth,
So
but the problem is that always, you are still in a new opera, and but if you have a good feeling with your colleague, I think that this is easier. This is my opinion.
And for me, it's something as original and very interesting to have all the cast Italians. To feel really each word. So it with
but
of
you
course
are Italian too, actually.
I actually
Yeah, come on.
Let me ask you, Angela, is Adina like you?
I think I like Adina, and I think Adina, she likes me too.
How so?
How so? Because it's very nice to feel girlish, to have fun. So I'm not a girl anymore, but as everybody, we have, that kind of feeling of our childhood, and we feel the atmosphere, and also the music. It's so cute and so nice, and I have a lot of fioritura, kikiriki. I said, so that's kikiriki for both of us, because we don't sing actually a lot of bel canto.
Yes, bel canto. Actually, that's the truth, and but I find myself still comfortable in this role, and I love it. And Nemorino, everybody thinks that Nemorino is stupid, but he's not stupid. He's just very how to say that, he's very naive, and he doesn't know very well what life is, and he thinks that loves can win overall, and that's the truth. But I think
I feel that way too.
Yeah, me too.
And in the next act, you get to sing this incredible aria, Una furtiva lagrima, which most people think of as sad, but there's some joy and some happiness in that. And
there
I know
is a
you
lot
feel that
of
way.
happiness in that area because he is aware that in that moment she loves him. And
and all's right with the world.
And that's the coronation of all.
Next season, Angela, you were back singing Violetta in La Traviata and also Carmen in a new production. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Everybody will think I'm crazy. I'm not. So the first time in my life I'm doing something. It's not quite. I'm not. I never pretend I'm a mezzo-soprano. I'm not a mezzo-soprano. I'll try with Richard Eyre. And also with the help of this house to have, of course, I record Carmen, as you know, but I think to have everybody was a good and nice surprise, also for myself.
You sing with such an urgency when you're on stage. Is that something you think about, or does it just happen? It's almost like you're an actor trained to be in the moment.
It's my secret. I cannot tell you about my secrets.
Tell us about your secret, please.
We're going to have to talk about
Come and see
talk
me,
about this later. Angela, Gheorghiu, and Massimo Giordano, thank you for spending some time with us. I'm Lauren Toulage and live backstage at the Met. Now back to you.
Acompanya a l'escenari el tenor nord-americà Michael Fabiano, que debuta en el rol d'Enzo. Fabiano ha tornat a l'escenari del Coliseu de la Rambla després del seu calaf a la Turandot de fa 3 anys aquí al Liceu. I en Marc Ruiz, del camerino de la Saioa, s'ha escapat ja a buscar el Michael Fabiano al seu camerino.
De Gioconda a Enzo, Michael Fabiano, bona nit, buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Este es tu debut como Enzo. ¿Cómo te preparas un personaje cuando lo tienes que interpretar por primera vez?
Por la primera vez, sí. Es mi primera vez que canté Enzo. En el pasado, yo he escuchado, no sé, a 50 tenores que cantaron. Y yo siempre pienso que es muy importante saber la historia de la música y de los cantantes que vinieron antes de mí. Y solamente para escuchar las frases, como cantaron, los agudos, como cantaron, yo leía sobre las maneras que estudiaba la música, los cantantes también. Pertile, Lauri Volpi, por ejemplo, Del Monaco cantó poco a poco, pero interesante saber desde él también. saber la historia es súper importante para mí.
Y eso te ayuda a dibujar el tuyo, ¿no? De traerlo a tu voz.
Exacto. Porque mi voz es mi voz, las voces de los otros son voces suyos. Y yo estoy muy consciente que yo tengo mi manera de cantar, tengo que poner mi manera de cantar en la escena, no copiando otras.
Este personaje tiene momentos musicalmente espléndidos, como el dúo con Barnaba que hemos escuchado ahora en el primer acto, pero es un personaje honesto, sin muchas capas psicológicas, ¿no? No sé si esto te ayuda a dibujar el personaje o al revés, tienes que poner más de tu parte para darle personalidad.
Yo pienso que Enzo es muy simple. Es un carácter súper simple, sensible, como has dicho, y solamente tiene amor en su corazón por una mujer, y esa mujer no es la Gioconda. Punto. Es un pescador. es una persona muy fácil en la vida. Y está dentro de una historia muy complicada, pero es como una persona está viendo fuera de una grande historia de problemas. Él está más o menos fuera. Él no está dentro la historia.
¿Y el hecho de que sea más simple como personaje psicológicamente te ayuda a definirlo o es al revés?
Es muy difícil para mí de interpretar un rol que es muy simple. No es normal para mí. Me gustan los caracteres que son antihéroes, que tienen muchos problemas en sus vidas, como Don Carlo, Otello, Don José en Carmen. Ese carácter es muy simple. Pues el problema desarrolla que cuando no tengo que hacer muchas cosas en la escena, yo empiezo a pensar solamente de mi voz, no de una persona. Pues durante esta experiencia de aprender Enzo, estoy haciendo un nuevo carácter que me apoya bien, Enzo, pero funciona para mí.
He leído en alguna entrevista que dices que este montaje te ayuda a cantar, o sea, que te sientes cómodo con este montaje. ¿Por qué?
Yo pienso dos cosas en esta idea. Número uno es, ¿cómo se dice? Walls, muros. Cuando un director, un regista ponga de muros en la escena, se apoya a los cantantes. ¿Por qué? No cantamos con micrófonos. Punto. Cuando la escenografía está abierta, sin muros, hace muy difícil para nosotros. Y esto siempre voy a defender y hablar con los artistas generales, porque tiene que cambiar en este mundo. Número dos es, yo pienso que cuando el público viene para ver nuestra función, quiere tomar un poco de catarsis, es una palabra, perdóname, y perderse sí mismo cuando está viendo el espectáculo. Y si una regista hace una cosa que no tiene mucha razón, es solamente su idea que ha creído en el pasado en su mente y insista que todos los cantantes hacer por él, la producción en este momento no está apoyando al público o los artistas. Y el acuerdo entre los artistas y el público diventa rota. Porque yo pienso que tengo un contrato con el público. El público paga por un billete. Un billete es ¿cómo se dice? Un investimento, una inversión en nosotros. Y cuando no podemos dar comisión en su inversión, ¿quién somos? Perdóname. Pues si un director puede diseñar una escena que va desde A a Z modernamente o en el pasado, perfecto. No me interesa si es moderno o no moderno. No pasa nada para mí, pero el producción tiene que tomar siempre impacto y conexión directamente a la historia.
Hablando del público, porque ahora estabas hablando del público, no es la primera vez que actúas en el Liceu. ¿Qué te parece el público? ¿Qué piensas del público de Barcelona?
Yo me instalé en España hace 3 años. Yo vivo en Madrid. Yo vivo en España porque amo la gente de España. La gente de España tiene corazones enormes, sonríe, y el público en el Liceu es súper caluroso. Apoya a los cantantes perfectamente, comprende la música lírica, y esto es la razón que estoy aquí, en este fantástico país.
Y volviendo a los montajes completos, recuerdo haberte visto aquí en el Liceu haciendo a Gherghiu de Manon, al lado de Nadine Sierra, y me impresionó mucho tu teatralidad. ¿Es algo que también buscas, además de cantar, transmitir esta teatralidad de los personajes?
Pues 3 cosas. Número 1, Nadine es uno de mis mejores amigos en el mundo. Estábamos amigos por, 20 años. Yo canté mi primer Duque di Mantova con ella cuando ella tenía 23 años. Y siento muy afortunado de cantar con ella cuando ella es cerca de mí, porque como Sayoa, Nadine me mejora cuando canto. Y esto busco en mis colegas, la posibilidad de mejorarse. Y número 1. Número 2, yo pienso que cuando estoy con Nadine, mejoro ella también, porque interpreto. Yo me caigo en la escena, yo doy toda mi sangre. Y cuando estoy cerca de Nadine, Nadine tiene que hacer esto también conmigo. Y pues diría que es una buena conexión entre nosotros. 3 es que en todos los roles que canto, es súper importante para mí conectar mí mismo a un momento de mi vida que parece similar a los momentos en la ópera. ¿Entiendes? Pues en Manon, por ejemplo, recuerdo exactamente cuando una persona me dejó y los pensamientos que tenía, y empujaba a esta persona enfrente de mí cuando estaba cantando a Frillet. Misma cosa en este rol. Yo intento de poner un momento de mi vida enfrente de mí mismo cuando canto, y canto cerca de esta persona o este problema en mi vida, etcétera, etcétera. Pues espero que te respondí bien.
Estaríem hores i hores xerrant, però ho hem de deixar perquè, clar, ells han de sortir a cantar. Michael, Fabiano, muchas gracias por atendernos.
Muchas gracias a ti.
Acercarles un poco más la ópera y, en tu caso, acercársela en un excelentísimo castellano.
¿Qué dices a mí? Tenéis que perdonarme cuando me faltan las palabras, pero vamos a ver. Es impresionante a mí, después 2 actos de cantar, que cada día cuando canto tengo la impresión que tengo un gran privilegio cantar esta obra. Ponchielli era un compositor entre 2 temas, di Verdi y Puccini, y cada noche cuando actúo la Gioconda, me doy cuenta que Gioconda no es verismo y no es Verdi. Es una mezcla, es pre-romanticismo, pero es después de bel canto. Y cada día tengo que encontrar mi camino en esta música. Es diferente esta música.
Muchos músicos lo decís muy a menudo. Esta Gioconda, este Ponchielli, os fascina a vosotros para cantarla, os encontráis muy cómodos. Es una musicaza impresionante. Ahora, mientras venía corriendo yo por los pasillos, hemos dejado a los oyentes con este concierto para flicorno, bajo y banda, que es una música excelente. En algún aspecto es una lástima que no conozcamos más Ponchielli que esta Gioconda.
Pero en la historia, por ejemplo, en este teatro, en el Liceo, han hecho Gioconda muchas veces en el pasado, pero en estos, no sé, 20 años, solamente 3 veces. En el pasado, Gioconda era una de las obras más actuadas en la escena.
En la historia del Liceo se ha representado más de 150 veces.
Ok.
Efectivamente.
Perfecto.
Tú no la habías cantado nunca, ni en el Liceo ni en ninguna parte. ¿Cómo te has encontrado?
Este rol para mí es difícil, porque es obligatorio mantener la línea de Verdi, pero con una orquesta que es más potente. Esta es la diferencia entre Verdi, que es fuerte y después nada. Fuerte, nada. Fuerte, nada. Ponchielli mantiene esta, no sé, es caluroso toda la noche, la música. Quiere una línea belcantista en los primeros 2 actos, por el tenor, por ejemplo. Cielo e mar, por ejemplo, dice en la partitura piano, pianissimo, piano, 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 decrescendo, piano, piano, piano. En nuestras orejas probablemente tenemos muchos tenores en el pasado que han cantado súper bien, cantaron este rol fantásticamente, pero fuerte. Y yo intenté encontrar un camino que es más bel canto en la aria, pero es difícil desarrollar perfectamente al final, porque el final del aria es totalmente diferente que más o menos toda la otra parte del aria. Pues, no sé, Ponchielli es uno que estoy todavía descubriendo y espero cantar Gioconda 3 o 4 veces más. Es muy agudo. Después de esta Gioconda me voy a Las Palmas para debutar mi primer Otello. Y cuando estoy estudiando mi Otello, parece mucho más fácil que la Gioconda para mí, porque es más central. Y cuando un agudo viene y dejo los agudos exacto. Este Cielo e mar, por ejemplo, es más parecido a Parmi vedere le lagrime en Rigoletto, porque la tesitura de Cielo e mar, sol, la diesis, sol, fa, sol, la diesis, permanezca toda l'aria. Otello es más o menos en mi bemolle, re, va a un sol o la bemol o la un momentito. Esto es la diferencia entre Otello y Gioconda para mí.
Aquí estás arriba todo el rato.
Sí.
¿Qué es lo que hace especialmente difícil lograr eso que decías, ¿no? De cantar, de no cantar fuerte, porque al final cantar agudo y piano al mismo tiempo con la orquesta.
Sí, pero esta zona de cantar en esta tesitura que tiene obligaciones de cantar super piano y después con todo en empujo, tengo que dar todo inmediatamente después. Y 2 minutos después vuelvo en piano. Esto es Ponchielli. Ponchielli es más difícil por la voz que Verdi, diría.
Caramba. Y oye, pues vaya meses que llevas con estos debuts. Ponchielli, esta Gioconda, luego dices que te vas a hacer Otello en Las Palmas. ¿En qué momento dirías que estás de tu carrera?
Sí, es un momento, yo tengo mucho privilegio de cantar estas obras importantísimas y yo soy consciente que esto es yo estaba cantando por 20 años en carrera. 20 años es mucho. Y cuando digo que Michael está cantando 20 años, ok, Franco Corelli ha cantado 24 años en carrera. Mario del Mónaco, 33. Muchos de los tenores importantes, más o menos entre 25 y 35 años de carrera. Yo estoy en un momento después del 50% de mi carrera. Es el momento de cambiar el camino, más o menos.
Pues oye, esperamos seguir viéndote por aquí, por el liceo, donde eres bastante habitual. Ya.
Habitual no sé, pero sí. Sí, canté
Bastante
aquí
frecuente.
5 veces. Tengo otros contratos aquí en el futuro. En España, porque yo canto casi cada año en Madrid, en Bilbao también. España es muy importante a mí. Yo tengo mucha admiración y afección por las personas de España. Esta es una de las razones que me instalé en España hace 3 años. Y no sé, me siento muy afortunado de vivir en España.
Pues esperamos verte muchísimo más, escucharte en Radio Clásica. Muchísimas gracias, Michael. Te dejo con tus rutinas de entreacto.
Los tenores siempre tienen sus rutinas.
Pues te dejamos.
Somos locos.
Te desearía buena suerte en lo cantante para los 2 actos que nos quedan. Tu personaje, pues chico, va a ir como va a ir.
Gracias.
Pues acabamos de salir del camerino de Michael Fabiano, nos colamos directamente.